It's happened to all of us. You drop 60 or 70 bucks on a new release, only to finish it in a weekend feeling less satisfied and more. Where's the rest? Finding a single-player game that genuinely justifies the full price tag and respects your time is a challenge, especially when every other title feels like a microtransaction playground. This list is about the opposite. The solo experiences that deliver quality, depth, and sheer value, making you remember why you fell in love with gaming in the first place. You know that moment when a game's credits roll, and instead of rushing to trade it in, you immediately want to start a new file just to feel the magic again? These 21 games deliver exactly that and maybe even more. Silksong, the sequel we've waited for, and if the first game is anything to go by, it's going to redefine what value means in a 2D action platformer. Forget short campaigns, we're talking about a meticulously crafted world where every new ability fundamentally changes how you navigate and fight, creating an interconnected experience that begs for exploration. The new protagonist, Hornet, brings a fresh sense of speed and fluidity to the combat, centering the gameplay around faster parries, aerial dashes, and a silk-based crafting system that promises new tactical depth. The sheer volume of content is what makes this a must-buy. Dozens of massive, distinct areas, a truly staggering collection of unique bosses, and a dense, quiet lore that rewards every curious player. It's a game that respects your intelligence, never holding your hand but always giving you the tools to succeed, leading to those incredible aha moments that make the whole experience click. And here's where it gets interesting. The commitment to handcrafted quality over procedural filler means that every single hour spent in this world is an hour well spent, offering a complexity and elegance rarely seen in the genre. Simply put, Silksong isn't just a sequel, it's an event and a masterclass in atmospheric design and tight mechanics. It will easily provide you with 100 hours of content if you aim for true completion, and even if you just focus on the main narrative, the challenge and the emotional impact of the world are going to stick with you long after the final boss. This is the kind of game that sets the bar, a massive, beautiful solo journey that's completely worth the wait and the full investment. If you're looking for a dark fantasy action RPG that focuses entirely on hard-hitting, stylish combat, then look no further than the first Berzeker, Khazan. This game is pure power fantasy built around a deep combat engine that rewards precision, timing, and an aggressive playstyle, putting it right up there with the best in the genre. The visual style is immediately arresting, blending a gritty, high-fidelity look with over-the-top, anime-inspired special effects, making every single combo feel like a moment ripped straight from a climactic fight scene. But the real meat of the experience is in the Berzeker mechanic, a system that lets you strategically push your character to the edge, unlocking devastating new moves and transformations at a great risk. This risk-reward loop is the core driver of the gameplay, constantly forcing you to manage your rage and your life bar in the face of brutal bosses that demand perfection. You know that feeling when you finally master a boss's patterns, weaving together a flawless, punishing combo? This game delivers that endorphin rush repeatedly. The game promises a compelling, if bleak, narrative about revenge and sacrifice, perfectly complementing the crushing difficulty of the world. It's a game designed for solo mastery, where your progression is tied directly to your skill level, rather than just grinding out stats, and that sense of earned victory is what gives it its lasting value. For fans of deep character action games that don't pull any punches, Khazan is shaping up to be a stunning and satisfying technical showcase. How do you sell the fantasy of being an 8-foot-tall, genetically engineered super soldier wading through endless hordes of aliens? You make Space Marine 2, a game that turns the simple act of pulling a trigger into a visceral, deeply satisfying experience. This is pure, unadulterated third-person action, and the core loop is brilliant. You kill, you cleave, and you continue with a sense of scale and spectacle that few other shooters can match. The first time you activate a chainsword and tear through a tide of Xenos is a moment you won't soon forget. The game perfectly captures the oppressive, overwhelming feeling of fighting against impossible odds, constantly pushing the player with new waves and enemy types that force smart use of your entire arsenal, from the iconic bolter to heavy-duty plasma cannons. And here's where it gets interesting. The visual fidelity is key to the experience, with environmental damage, unit counts, and fluid animations all selling the power of the Space Marine in every single frame. It's not just about surviving, it's about dominating the battlefield. While it does offer co-op, the campaign is designed to be a fully cinematic solo adventure, putting you at the center of a desperate war for survival. It's a focused, high-octane experience that knows exactly what it is and executes that fantasy perfectly, giving you plenty of upgrades and weapon variations to keep the combat fresh across its lengthy runtime. If you want a game that's the definition of a power trip, delivered with polish and a relentless pace, then your full money is a small price to pay for this dose of righteous carnage. Want a game that is constantly fresh, perpetually challenging, and built to leverage the PS5's technology in a way few others can match? Returnal is the answer. This is a brilliant fusion of fast-paced third-person shooting, atmospheric science fiction, and the brutal loop of a roguelike, where every death sends you back to the start, but with permanent upgrades and knowledge that makes the next run just a little bit different. The combat demands quick reflexes, precise dodging, and smart use of weapon traits, creating intense, bullet hell-like encounters that feel fantastic on the DualSense controller. The genius of Returnal is in its design. Each restart shuffles the room layouts, enemy placements, and item drops, ensuring that no two runs are ever the same, keeping the experience engaging even after dozens of hours. The environmental themes are haunting and unique, and the subtle, unfolding narrative of the protagonist, Celine, provides a perfect slow-burn mystery that motivates you to push further and further. You know that feeling of relief and triumph when you finally defeat a huge boss after dozens of failures? That's the essence of this game. This title rewards mastery unlike almost any other, and the progression loop of permanent unlocks and discovering new shortcuts ensures that your time is always respected even if you die. It's a high-quality, high-stakes action game that delivers hours upon hours of dynamic, satisfying gameplay, justifying its cost entirely through sheer replayability and the constant thrill of getting just one step closer to the end. If you're seeking a dark, beautiful, and mechanically deep Metroidvania, then prepare yourself for the unsettling world of Blasphemous 2. This game leans hard into its gorgeously grotesque pixel art aesthetic and deeply atmospheric setting, drawing from rich Spanish Catholic iconography to create a world that is equal parts terrifying and fascinating. But the real reason it earns a spot on this list is the combat. It's fast, fluid, and far more diverse than its predecessor, centered around 3 distinct main weapons that each open up new movement and attack options. The introduction of multiple weapons and a more flexible platforming system means the combat and exploration are constantly evolving, leading to more satisfying character growth. You're not just swinging a sword, you're mastering parries, aerial techniques, and devastating prayer attacks, with each upgrade feeling like a substantial power-up. And here's where it gets interesting. The level design is a masterclass in interconnectedness, constantly folding back on itself and rewarding the dedicated explorer who hunts down every secret and every piece of fragmented lore. This is a game built for solo players who appreciate a dark narrative and a genuine challenge. It respects the player enough to let them struggle and learn. The incredible boss design, the compelling sense of discovery, and the sheer visual artistry mean that every hour spent exploring the world of the miracle is a rewarding one. For its depth of systems and truly unique artistic vision, Blasphemous 2 is a must-buy for fans of the genre and a substantial experience that easily warrants its price. Are you tired of action games that feel like reskins? Black Myth Wukong promises an experience rooted in rich Chinese mythology, offering a visually stunning and mechanically dense journey as the destined one. This game isn't just about beautiful graphics, though the incredible detail in the environments and enemy designs is certainly a major selling point. It's about translating the mythical power of the Monkey King into a demanding, satisfying combat system. The core gameplay loop is centered around mastering various staves and forms, each providing different tactical advantages against the massive and creative bosses. The combat requires real dedication, placing it firmly in the Souls-like adjacent category, where patience and pattern recognition are key to survival. But here's where it gets interesting. The true value lies in the 72 transformations, a system that allows Wukong to take on the forms of defeated enemies, unlocking unique abilities that can completely change the dynamic of a fight or solve challenging environmental puzzles. This constant evolution of the player's toolset ensures that the gameplay remains fresh and inventive across the entire adventure. This is a game that has captured global attention for its sheer ambition and technical polish, offering a solo fantasy that feels epic in scope. The sheer artistry of the world, combined with deep, skill-based combat and a narrative drawing from one of the greatest pieces of literature, makes Black Myth Wukong a premier single-player investment. If you want a game that feels truly next-gen in every aspect, this cinematic powerhouse is your destination. When a classic survival horror game gets remade, the big question is always, does it justify a new purchase? Resident Evil 4 Remake doesn't just justify it, it elevates the source material, delivering a tense, action-packed solo experience that sets a new standard for remakes. It preserves the iconic structure and tone of Leon S. Kennedy's Dark Journey, but modernizes the controls and pacing to create a far more immediate and visceral combat loop, where every shotgun blast and well-timed parry feels incredibly impactful. The brilliant balance between survival horror and action is what makes this game so sticky. You're constantly managing limited resources, deciding whether to fight or flee, and using environmental traps to thin out the relentless hordes of ganados. You know that moment when you're pinned down, low on ammo, and pull off a perfect headshot followed by a roundhouse kick? The game is full of those adrenaline-fueled scenarios. And here's where it gets interesting. The expanded side content and the new depth given to characters like the Merchant add significant value, encouraging thorough exploration and weapon optimization. From the chilling sound design that keeps you on edge to the stunning visual overhaul, this remake is a masterclass in tension and pacing. It offers a substantial campaign with fantastic replay value via the professional difficulty and the Separate Ways DLC, making it a complete, essential solo package. It's a terrifying, beautiful, and deeply satisfying adventure that absolutely warrants the full price of admission. Kena! Bridge of Spirits might look like a beautiful animated film, but beneath the charming visuals is a surprisingly robust and rewarding solo action adventure. The game's primary appeal is its emotional core, a compelling journey where you guide the spirit guide Kena to help lingering spirits move on, all while cleaning up a corrupted forest world. This narrative is beautifully tied to the gameplay, centered around collecting and utilizing the adorable rote creatures, who assist in battle and puzzle solving. The combat is a fantastic blend of ranged bow attacks, quick staff strikes, and strategic use of the rot to create powerful distractions and bursts of damage. It's a system that starts simple but quickly ramps up in complexity, especially during the challenging and visually spectacular boss fights. And here's where it gets interesting. The puzzle design is clever and never feels like filler, constantly requiring you to utilize the rot in creative ways to manipulate the environment and unlock new areas. The sense of discovery as you cleanse each new part of the world is deeply satisfying. This is a focused, polished experience that delivers exceptional production quality and heart in a compact package. It offers fantastic value through its art direction, a genuinely engaging story, and combat that demands precision, but never feels overly punishing. Kena is the perfect game for those looking for a solo adventure that combines emotional storytelling with fast-paced, fluid action and puzzle elements. It's pure cinematic delight that proves shorter games can deliver incredible value. Wait, a co-op game on a solo list? Hear me out. It Takes Two is so fundamentally brilliant in its design and so essential to a complete PS5 library that it deserves a shout-out, especially since only one player needs to buy it. This game is a masterclass in constantly shifting gameplay, throwing you and your partner into a new genre or mechanic every 30 minutes, all tied together by a surprisingly heartfelt and genuinely funny narrative about a couple on the brink of divorce. The genius of this title is that it always requires true cooperation. The puzzles and boss fights are designed so that each player has a unique, distinct role, forcing communication and coordination. You know that moment when you finally execute a complex sequence of platforming and timing with a friend? This game is literally built around those moments. And here's where it gets interesting. The sheer variety of gameplay styles, from third-person action to dungeon crawling, flight combat, and puzzle platforming, means you'll never get bored. For the price of a single game, you get a full, lengthy adventure that provides a memorable experience for two people, often far outlasting many standard single-player campaigns. It offers unmatched value and undeniable fun. While technically not a solo game, its status as a must-have, high-value experience makes it impossible to leave off a list of games that truly justify their cost. If you crave a massive, deeply atmospheric and narratively rich solo experience, the director's cut of Ghost of Tsushima is arguably the best value proposition on PS5. This game offers a stunningly beautiful open-world samurai fantasy where every vista is a postcard and every sword fight is a scene straight out of a Kurosawa film. The combat system is a standout, blending tactical stance switching with deadly precision, rewarding players who master the parry and the counterattack to chain together satisfying bloody encounters. The sense of immersion is key. You don't use a minimap. You follow the wind, which guides you to your next objective, encouraging organic exploration of the gorgeous island. You know that feeling when you stumble upon a hidden shrine or a character-focused tale that enriches the world? The sheer density of quality side content ensures your playtime is constantly meaningful. And here's where it gets interesting. The director's cut includes the massive Iki Island expansion, which adds new abilities, enemies, quest lines, and a deep personal new narrative chapter for the protagonist, Jin Sakai. The combination of a powerful main story, an endless array of meaningful side activities, and the complete Iki Island experience means this package is truly enormous and exceptionally polished. For those seeking an elegant, lengthy, and emotionally resonant solo adventure that perfectly captures the samurai spirit, Ghost of Tsushima provides hundreds of hours of justified, high-quality content. Do you remember the first game's philosophical depth and genuinely taxing puzzles? The Talos Principle II takes everything that made the original a classic and significantly expands the scale and complexity. This is a brilliant, cerebral solo experience that centers on exploration and logic, demanding that you constantly reevaluate your assumptions about physics, time, and space. The new island setting is visually spectacular, offering a stark, beautiful contrast to the deep existential questions the narrative poses about humanity and consciousness. The core puzzle mechanics are immediately satisfying, revolving around manipulating lasers, moving blocks, and using gravity-bending tools, but the sequel introduces entirely new elements like mind transfer and complex environmental interactions. You know that moment when you've been stuck on a puzzle for 20 minutes and then the solution suddenly clicks? This game is full of those rewarding aha moments. And here's where it gets interesting. The narrative choices you make during the campaign have real weight, influencing the philosophical discussions and potentially shaping the future of this new robotic society. This is a game built for the player who values intellectual challenge and a strong, thought-provoking story over simple combat, offering dozens of hours of high-quality, dense content. For a full-price purchase, the Talos Principle II provides an unmatched level of cerebral satisfaction, proving that true value can be found in a game that forces you to use your brain, not just your reflexes. If you're looking for sheer content volume combined with an utterly ridiculous and heartfelt narrative, Like a Dragon. Infinite Wealth is perhaps the greatest value proposition on the PS5. This game is an absolute behemoth, delivering a dual protagonist storyline that spans from the streets of Japan to the sun-soaked chaos of Hawaii, blending intense emotional drama with laugh-out-loud, absurd minigames and side quests. The transition to a turn-based RPG system only solidifies the depth, allowing for deep party customization and strategic, over-the-top combat maneuvers. The sheer density of activities is staggering. From managing a tropical resort and fighting enemies using the Sujimon system to karaoke, kart racing, and dozens of meaningful sub-stories. You know that moment when you start a small side quest only for it to balloon into a multi-hour mini-saga that makes you genuinely care about a random NPC? Infinite Wealth is built on that philosophy. And here's where it gets interesting. The game's runtime is immense, easily clocking over 80 hours for the main story alone, offering a depth of character and world building that few other RPGs can match. This solo experience is the definitive modern JRPG, delivering an unparalleled combination of character development, hilarious antics, and deep combat mechanics. The game is packed with enough life, humor, and meaningful content to keep you engaged for months, making the full price tag feel almost like a bargain for the sheer amount of polished entertainment you receive. Stellar Blade is the game you buy when you want an uncompromised, action-focused solo adventure that prioritizes spectacular visuals and perfectly tuned combat. This title delivers a thrilling narrative set in a post-apocalyptic world, but the real draw is the fluid, rhythmic swordplay centered around protagonist Eve. The gameplay loop demands mastery of parrying, dodging, and precisely timed counters, turning every encounter, even against basic enemies, into a satisfying dance of death. The combat system allows for deep customization through a robust skill tree and gear upgrades, encouraging players to experiment with different combos and skills to find their signature style. The cinematic flair, especially during the climactic boss encounters, is world-class, delivering a visual spectacle that constantly reminds you of the PS5's power. And here's where it gets interesting. While the level design is generally linear, each location is meticulously crafted, focusing on intense action set pieces and exploration that yields essential upgrades. This is a focused, high-value experience for fans who appreciate games that prioritize style and mechanical depth above all else. The commitment to delivering a polished, rewarding solo adventure with a demanding but fair combat system ensures that Stellar Blade provides excellent return on investment, leaving you satisfied with its fast-paced, high-quality execution. What happens when you take one of the most terrifying and atmospheric survival horror games ever made and update it with next-generation technology? You get the Dead Space Remake, a solo journey through the depths of psychological terror that delivers immense value through pure, unadulterated tension. The game perfectly preserves the claustrophobic dread of the USG Ishimura while introducing incredible visual fidelity, new atmospheric effects, and a seamlessly connected map that deepens the immersion. The gameplay is still centered around the brilliant strategic dismemberment mechanic, forcing players to target specific limbs of the necromorphs with limited resources, adding a layer of tactical complexity to every panicked encounter. You know that moment when you hear a scuttling sound behind you in the dark, and you know you have to make every single plasma cutter round count? That's the entire experience. And here's where it gets interesting. The new Intensity Director system dynamically alters enemy placement and environmental effects, ensuring that no two segments feel exactly the same, massively boosting replay value and perpetual dread. This remake is a masterclass in atmospheric design, delivering a terrifying, polished, and substantial campaign that fully justifies the price for any horror enthusiast. It's a dark, captivating single-player experience that provides exceptional value through its technical polish, mechanical depth, and relentless commitment to scaring the absolute life out of you. If you're seeking a combat system so deep it could qualify as a PhD in action gaming, Nioh 2, the PS5 Edition, is the relentless solo adventure for you. This game is a true behemoth in the action RPG space, known for its breakneck pace, complex stamina, key management, and a vast arsenal of weapons and yokai abilities. The value comes from the sheer mechanical mastery required. It's a game that demands constant attention, forcing you to fluidly switch between high, mid, and low stances to counter and exploit enemy weaknesses. The PS5 Edition includes the base game and all 3 massive DLC expansions, making it an incredible package of content right out of the box, easily over 100 hours of gameplay for those who want to reach the highest difficulties. You know that feeling when you finally get the timing down on a specific key pulse and perfectly chain together a devastating combo against a powerful yokai? That's the constant reward loop here. And here's where it gets interesting. The sheer build variety, allowing for deeply customized character setups using different spirit guardians and skill trees, ensures that every new playthrough feels distinct. For the price, this is one of the most content-rich and mechanically satisfying action games available, perfect for the solo player who loves to sink hours into mastering a complex system. Nioh 2 offers an unparalleled challenge and exceptional value, cementing its place as an essential high-quality title for those who crave difficulty and depth. Do you want a game that respects your agency, rewards creativity, and offers an unmatched depth of solo role-playing? Baldur's Gate 3 is less a game and more a commitment to a new life for the next several months. As a faithful yet wildly inventive adaptation of the Dungeons & Dragons rule set, this game delivers a massive, branching narrative where every choice, major or minor, has cascading, unpredictable consequences. The value here comes from the unparalleled freedom and replayability, offering countless ways to approach any problem, from combat to diplomacy. The combat, based on deep turn-based tactics, forces you to use the environment, your party's skills, and often sheer trickery to survive. You know that moment when you realize you can solve a difficult encounter by simply talking your way out of it, or using an utterly ridiculous combination of spells and barrels? That is the essence of Baldur's Gate 3. And here's where it gets interesting. The quality of the writing and the depth of the companion characters, all fully voiced and offering complex, evolving relationships, create an emotional investment rarely seen in the genre. This title is a true solo masterpiece and an absolute benchmark for value. Its length, combined with the sheer number of paths and outcomes, guarantees hundreds of hours of unique, high-quality content. If you're looking for the definitive modern RPG that will keep you engaged long after you've completed your first playthrough, the full price for this epic journey is a tiny fraction of the experience it provides. Sometimes, the most valuable solo experiences are the ones that challenge your mind in completely unique ways. And Chants of Sennaar is a puzzle-adventure masterpiece built entirely around the concept of linguistic decryption. This game puts you in the role of a traveler exploring a mystical tower where the inhabitants speak mutually unintelligible languages. Your goal isn't to fight, but to observe, connect symbols to concepts, and gradually translate entire glyph systems to progress. The gameplay is utterly compelling because it turns you into a genuine anthropologist. You're not just matching colors, you are learning new ways of communication through context clues, environmental puzzles, and diagrams. You know that incredible moment when an entire sentence suddenly makes sense after hours of deciphering individual words? That sense of intellectual victory is the game's core reward. And here's where it gets interesting. The puzzles are seamlessly integrated into the narrative and world design, making the process of linguistic discovery the key to unlocking the story's secrets. This is a focused, brilliant game that proves true value doesn't always come from sheer length, but from the depth and originality of its mechanics. For the solo player seeking a unique, mentally stimulating, and incredibly satisfying experience that sticks with you long after the credits, Chants of Sennaar offers a truly original concept flawlessly executed. If visual style and cinematic execution are key to your solo gaming enjoyment, Trek to Yomi is a spectacular tribute to classic samurai cinema that delivers a focused, stylized experience. Rendered entirely in a striking black and white palette, this game places you in the role of a young swordsman on a quest for revenge that takes him through the world of the living and the spiritual realm. The experience is meticulously framed with fixed camera angles, giving every scene the dramatic weight of a feature film. The combat system is a deliberate, methodical side-scrolling affair, demanding precision in blocking, parrying, and performing combos. It's not a hack and slash, it's a dedication to the samurai code, where a single clean strike can end a fight. You know that satisfying clench when you manage to block a flurry of attacks and execute a perfect counter that clears the screen? That is the constant reward of this game's tight mechanics. And here's where it gets interesting. The journey into the titular underworld offers unique enemy types and visual shifts that keep the adventure dynamic and artistically compelling. While perhaps shorter than some other games on this list, its value lies in its uncompromised artistic vision and incredibly tight execution. Trek to Yomi offers a high-impact, memorable solo story with a deliberate pace and a beautiful aesthetic that makes it a worthwhile investment for fans of stylish, focused action. Need a game that perfectly captures the comforting nostalgia of 16-bit JRPGs while completely modernizing the mechanics? Sea of Stars is a vibrant, heartwarming solo adventure that oozes charm and smart design. This title delivers a lengthy, beautifully written narrative centered around the Solstice Warriors, but the biggest draw is the combat system, a turn-based affair that adds critical timing elements to both attacks and defense, requiring player interaction to boost damage or mitigate incoming harm. The combat is constantly engaging, never relying on simple auto attacks, and the ability to combine party members' unique powers for powerful combo attacks adds a great layer of strategic depth. You know that feeling when you realize you can instantly solve a puzzle or take out a group of enemies using a combination of environmental interaction and timing? That cleverness extends beyond battle, with platforming and traversal seamlessly integrated into the beautiful pixel art world. And here's where it gets interesting. The commitment to avoiding grinding means that every encounter and every hour of exploration feels inherently valuable and necessary for progression. This is a masterful solo RPG that respects both your time and your intelligence. Its immense length, combined with its high quality of writing, stunning visual presentation, and perpetually engaging combat system, makes Sea of Stars an absolutely essential high-value purchase for anyone craving a modern classic JRPG experience. For a game that constantly surprises you with how much content is packed into one title, Dave the Diver is a delightful, genre-bending solo experience that delivers incredible value. What starts as a simple diving and sushi serving simulator rapidly evolves into a complex management sim, an adventure game, a light RPG, and occasionally a bullet hell shooter. The core loop is brilliant. Dive during the day to hunt exotic fish and manage your bustling sushi restaurant at night, all tied together by an eccentric cast of characters and a surprisingly deep main narrative. The constant introduction of new mechanics, side systems, and bizarre plot developments ensures that the gameplay never gets stale. You know that moment when you think you've mastered the restaurant service, and then the game introduces a seahorse racing minigame or a deep-sea farming mechanic? That unpredictable, charming complexity is the source of its immense appeal. And here's where it gets interesting. The charming pixel art aesthetic belies the incredible depth of the management and exploration systems, rewarding players who invest time in optimizing both their hunting and their business. This is an exceptionally unique solo game that offers an outrageous amount of polished, high-quality content for its price. Dave the Diver is the perfect example of a game that consistently over-delivers, providing a lighthearted yet deeply engaging experience that you'll be recommending to everyone. Do you ever get tired of the same old run, gun, and jump formula? Death Stranding Director's Cut offers a profoundly unique solo experience that centers on connection, isolation, and the meditative act of traveling, making it an incredible value for the player seeking something truly different. As Sam Porter Bridges, your mission is not to kill, but to walk and deliver cargo across a post-apocalyptic, gorgeous America. The value here comes from the deeply tactical and surprisingly engaging gameplay loop of simply traversing treacherous terrain while balancing your load. The Director's Cut significantly enhances the original experience, adding a massive new area, fresh story missions, and crucial gameplay additions like the cargo catapult and improved melee combat, all optimized for the PS5's fidelity. You know that moment when you look back at a completed zipline network you meticulously built across a mountain, realizing the hours of work that benefited not only you but other players? That sense of persistent collective achievement is the game's secret weapon. And here's where it gets interesting. The narrative, penned by Hideo Kojima, is a sprawling emotional journey that requires patience but offers immense payoff, tackling complex themes rarely seen in blockbuster games. This is a cinematic, atmospheric, and immensely deep solo adventure that is unlike anything else on the market, offering hundreds of hours for players who engage with its core loop. For its sheer originality, technical mastery, and the substantial content added in the Director's Cut, Death Stranding is a high-value investment that proves that sometimes the most rewarding experiences are the ones that redefine what gaming can be. At the end of the day, finding games that truly justify their price can be tough, but every title on this list delivers an experience that goes far beyond simple entertainment, offering quality that lasts well after the credits roll. Whether it's through emotional storytelling, technical innovation, deep combat systems, or sheer content value, each game offers something that truly respects your investment. If you've already played some of these, let me know in the comments which one gave you the biggest return on your money and which solo masterpieces you think should appear in the next video. And don't worry, more lists like this are definitely on the way, packed with new recommendations and future PS5 highlights, because the value hunt never truly ends. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to subscribe, leave your like, and check out the other video that's already on your screen right now.